So the question is, if you have a room without a roof, is it chayiv in sukkah, in mezuzah, sorry, and Rava says, P'turim min mezuzah. My Piskei Nishim. So the Gemara has one opinion. Leslie Tikrit doesn't have a roof, and now the Gemara has another interpretation of Rava. Chad Omer Delest Lehu Shkofe. It doesn't have a mashkov, right? It doesn't have a doorpost. Omar Rav Bar Shila Rav Chizda Achsadra P'turim min Asukah min Amezuzah. What's an Achsadra? Achsadra has a roof and has three walls, but it's open, totally open on one side. And according to Rabbah, it does not require mezuzah lefisha ein lo ptzimin, right? It doesn't have side posts. Okay. Now, what happens if you have an achsadra and you put up the side posts? Then I think he would have to admit that you chayiv in mezuzah, and that's what the Gemara is medayik here. Ha yesh lo ptzimim chayiv, which means that if it has side posts on the fourth side, which is open, nevertheless, it would still require a mezuzah. And now it's called a sha'ar. Such side posts would make it an entranceway that requires a mezuzah. And the Gemara asks why. L'chizuk tikrahu David. He didn't put up the side posts as an entranceway. He put up the side posts for the purpose of supporting the roof, because it's open on one side, so he doesn't have enough support of the roof. And the Gemara answers, here's what he meant. Afal pi sheyesh la patzimin ptura, right? Rav Chizda meant to say that an exadra, even if it had side posts, it's still exempt from a sukkah. Why? Because ein asuyah l'chizuk the tikra. Omar Abaye, and Abaye supports this. Chazina, I saw in Rabbah, my Rebbe's house. Chazina l'hule is polide de Beimar. Beimar means the house of my Rebbe Rabbah. And I saw that he had an achsadra, the islay patsumi, and it had side posts. Veles lahu mezuzah, but he didn't put up a mezuzah on this achsadra. Because the side posts are only there to support the roof. Meisvei, the Gemara Sakasha from a brisa. The three things here listed. They used to have outside the fields or gardens. They used to put up a budka, as we call it today in Israel, and that's where there was a guard used to sit there. So it's called a guardhouse or a gatehouse, and that requires a mezuzah. Then you have an achsadra requires a mezuzah. And then you have a mirpesa, which is a gallery. They used to have like 2 floors, and people from the first floor would come down to the gallery. People from the first floor would go up to the gallery, and that's how they went out to the street. And they climbed down a ladder or whatever it was. And anyway, we see that an achsadra, according to this price, is chayiv in sukkah. And the answer is, we're talking about an achsadra de Rav. This is not your classic achsadra, but a classroom that has 4 walls, and the walls don't extend all the way up to the roof. They're open for airy, bright, so the sun and the air can come in. But nevertheless, it's sheltered. It's enclosed on all 4 sides. It's not your classic achsadra, which is open on the 4th side, and therefore it requires a mezuzah. So the Gemara asks, achsadra de Beirav be in deruna ma'al yisahu. I mean, of course it requires a mezuzah. It's got 4 walls. What was the hava meaning that it wouldn't require, that you needed the brisa to teach me that such an achsadra requires a mezuzah? That's not your classic achsadra that does not require a mezuzah. And the answer is b'achsadra of Mosi, a Roman achsadra. And we would have thought that this achsadra is potter from mezuzah. The brisa wants to tell me it's chayiv in mezuzah. The Roman achsadra is enclosed by a structure on all sides, but that structure has open windows all around. So we have to ask our local architects for a picture of the Roman achsadra. Again, let's go over it one more time. It's enclosed by a structure on all sides, but the structure has open windows all around. So we would think that it's not really so enclosed, but Kamashma no, Yechayev in Omar Rafa, Omar Rabbi Yehuda, Bei Harzike, Chayev B'Shtei Mezuzos. My Bei Harzike. What is this? That you have to put up 2 mezuzos? Omar Papa Saba Mishmei Derav, Beis shar pasuch lechotzer ubatim suchim lebeis shar. So we spoke about a beis shar before. That was the gatehouse, right, where the shomer used to, set himself up, and it opens up into a chotzer. There are houses that open up into this gatehouse, and therefore, in this case, Rab Rachva, in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, requires that we put up two mezuzahs, right? Usually a gatehouse has one single entrance from the courtyard, and it requires a mezuzah. Whether it's Doraisa, Darbanas, Machlokas between the Rishonim. But anyway, on the right side, entering into the gatehouse, however, the Harzike gatehouse has a second entrance to the house that adjoins it. So, right, there's a house that adjoins this gatehouse, and you go through from that house into the gatehouse. And therefore, in addition to the main entrance into the gatehouse, the secondary entrance also requires a mezuzah. You have to put up two mezuzahs. We would have thought that in this case, he doesn't require a mezuzah at the entrance from the courtyard. And one would have thought that a gatehouse requires a mezuzah at an entrance only if there are no houses open to it. But where there are houses open into the gatehouse, and there is thus a mezuzah immediately beyond the entrance to the gatehouse, that entrance to the gatehouse does not require its own mezuzah. Rabbi Yehuda therefore teaches Kamashman that it requires its own mezuzah. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Brisa of Beis Shara Basua Legina Ule Kitonius. Case of a gatehouse that opens up into a garden and then into a room. Rabbi Yossi Nidon Kikitomos. We judge it as requiring a mezuzah. Rav Chacham Omrim Nidon Kibeis Shar. It's like it belongs to the gate shar, to the outside air, and it does not require mezuzah. Rav Shmuel Diamitravayu from the garden into the house. Everybody agrees it requires mezuzah. My time be the bias. But keep pleading the machlokas is mi bias legina from the house to the garden. Mar savar kitonis ikar, and therefore requires a mezuzah. Mar savar gina ikar. So when the door opens from the gatehouse into the garden, we follow the tzir. Remember, we spoke about the pivot, the tzir. And that's what we have over here. And we'll stop here. And I'll wish you a wonderful Shabbos. Thank you so much, Steve, and all the best. Okay, then? And we'll be in touch about that also. Okay.